Hey, 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 ladies.
What?
Ouch. It's the Hoops Talk. And the return of Kyndall.
Return of the Mac.
Hey!
Hey.
How's your face?
Hey.
How's your face? Tell us about your face.
I had 2 weeks of probably some of the worst pain of my entire life.
Okay.
Had to have my wisdom teeth emergency taken out.
Oh God.
I had like this giant infection. It was just I would not wish it on my worst enemy. But
Damn.
they're gone. I'm eating a cinnamon roll.
Show off that cinnamon roll. Show the people.
Pillsbury.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm good as new now. With
good.
A few less teeth. So there's that.
Well, we missed you.
Yes. I missed y'all.
I hope that we were able to hold it down. We had to go back to our original, like, Karen, it's just me and you.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, but we had some good guests. Wish you could have been on, but yeah, welcome back. Glad you are doing better and on the mend.
Miss you,
Karen. How is San Francisco?
I don't know. I've been inside.
Well, you have the baseball stadium behind you in this Zoom situation.
Well, because you know MLB coming back.
Oh, that's right. We're gonna talk about that. We're talking about a lot of fucking shit that's happening in sports.
Oh, do I need to get ready?
Yeah.
Do we take
the
hoops
right?
off?
That's right. And we're going to be introducing a new segment, Hoops Off. Well, this entire episode is Hoops Off.
Yeah.
In anticipation for when we really take our hoops off.
Hoops off, extensions
trying
out, gloves on.
Yeah.
It's a slow removal of the hoops.
Yeah. Seriously, hold my hoops because this is going to be some intense conversations. We haven't had like a good rant in a while. We've been very like
probably because I've been gone.
Maybe, yeah. We've been
fire starter.
I've been so angry lately.
Yeah, we've been very understanding and like, we haven't been like, you need to fucking shut your damn mouths. Like, okay, so that's happening today. We're gonna take the hoops off. Yeah, I think we're all tired of being inside. Sports is definitely not any like remedy for that.
No.
I'm just gonna tell you that right now. And if
not gonna make it any less boring.
No, and if you run our tape back, you will see that we have constantly been saying sports does not need to come back. We're good. So we have it on record that we've always stated that fact. But it's coming back slowly. We're going to talk about that today. Los Angeles is a hot spot. So, everybody please be safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance or physical distance, whatever you can do. Because they're going to have to roll back some of the openings that they did if it continues this way. Because we do not want to be like Florida.
SF did that.
Yeah. I mean, Texas had to roll back too.
Roll it back.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a bunch of selfish ass people out there.
It's true. I think about this, and I know we're going to talk more about all of this, but I think about if we would have just shut down the first 14 days, the whole country just completely just shut down, we could have sports. We would be in the playoffs in the NBA. Yep. If everybody could just like fucking hold their shit together for 14 fucking days. That's all. So that we could have gotten ahead of the virus.
Just eat the fucking tuna and the Spam in your fucking cupboard.
At that point, it was vacation.
Wash your ass in the tub if you run out of toilet paper.
At that point, it was vacation.
Yeah, true. Everyone
and
the
not
whole world
like
would have shut down. Yeah, the whole country.
Not hostage situation. That which is what it feels like now. I mean, I've had to go and do some appointments, and it's a lot. It's not only just like going and doing it, but it's the stress of preparing to go out, and then the stress of being like, making sure you're safe and the other people are safe and where you're at. And there's a lot of people, as we've seen, that don't give a fuck, and they're not going to wear a mask, and they're just like, God's lungs will protect me, and I'm not going to, just insanity that we're seeing. So, but in Los Angeles, we're doing our best. We're trying, at least the people that I see and hang around with, we're all trying, and hopefully something good will come, but I don't think so. So with that,
no, we
Not
like to
as
do
long
it.
as-
The American way is the hard way.
oh, no kidding. Well,
No.
we are going to move into some house cleaning and some updates with that. But as always, what we ask you is you please subscribe, like, review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're Google Play. Like I just checked our Google Play. We are there,
Google Play.
Androiders.
Hey, listen, SEO.
She's always said it.
baby.
She's always said it.
Google the
Facts.
Hoops Talk and look at our rankings, okay?
Facts. Karen is always facts. SEO, baby.
All facts, no printer.
There you go. Put it on a shirt. We are also on iHeartRadio. So somehow we got on there. I think
what's
Karen
that?
got us on there.
Who listens to that? Disney? The Disney
You know
kids?
what? I think that's owned by somebody
Clear
important.
Channel. It's Clear Channel. I think
okay.
iHeart, and they talk about it on almost every radio station.
Well, you know what?
here.
If you literally, I sometimes get annoyed that I have to tell people where to go and listen to us because I'm like, you could Google us.
It's called
Literally.
the Googles.
Yeah.
Because they probably think if they Google us, they
They're
can't
like,
find
I've
us.
had
It's like,
people, like literally, I've had people say, hey, can you send me a link? And I'm like, no. Unless you want to pay me to be your admin, you definitely, I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying.
It's 2020.
Okay.
Like, if you don't know where to listen to podcasts by now, then I don't know how to help you,
because
man.
they're just
Yeah.
too lazy to remember the Hoops Talk and then type it out.
Well, there's
But
some
like,
people.
even if you didn't know that, like, go to Spotify, go to Apple.
Yeah.
Like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the whole page is us when you type in the Hoops Talk,
Full disclosure.
except
it's-
Candace.
Full disclosure, it's usually my family.
That's true. Same here.
It's usually an aunt who is like, oh, I heard you have a podcast. Where can I find it? And I'm like,
Mhm.
are we going to do this again?
No, I don't want to send
Every
it to you.
time. Are you
You
going
just need
to
to
get?
send out an email to your whole family. Put it in the family
Seriously.
newsletter.
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
have to. I'm gonna
That's your
have to.
Christmas
I
card.
have
It's just
to.
a Hoops Talk postcard.
It's gonna be a
there you
link.
go.
And then
I
a
have
cutout
some
of
family-
Steven. A cutout of Steven in the
I
bottom.
have some family that follow us that I'm just like, oh, they are not like, it's problematic. But I'm like, you know what? A fan's a fan.
Oh man,
Every
you want
fan's
to say
a
hi
fan.
to them? Well,
No, absolutely not.
now your whole
Okay,
family's like, shit, is she talking about me?
maybe they better
Yeah.
stay on their toes.
Yep.
Stay
Oh,
on the toes.
The New York Times, there's a headline when we Googled the Hoops Talk, and they had a headline 3 days ago that says, basketball's getting close, but the Hoops Talk will have to wait.
Oh,
I will not
well,
wait.
We're not waiting.
We're not waiting.
God, New York Times
Absolutely
is
not.
problematic. Come
You
on.
know what? New York Times, come at us because we are not waiting. Okay, boo on you. So yeah, so that's, you can listen to us there at all the places. Google us, and we're also on social. So if you want to find us at the Hoops Talking on Twitter and Instagram, and then we do have a TikTok, the Hoops Talk Podcast, and we're on YouTube. So if you want to see our faces, you want to see, us with makeup, no makeup, stains, cinnamon rolls, sky fairy backgrounds, double chins, you can see it all in HD realness on our YouTube channel. So we hope you will subscribe to that, and you get alerts. You get shit tells you like, hey, fucking Hoop Talk's gonna be on. It better.
It's hard to remember Wednesday at 6:30. It's just,
I know.
I
We're
get it.
keeping time for you people. It's a
So much
service.
to do during quarantine,
I know. You can do this. Just put your
You can do it.
AirPods in and go do your walk. And listen to the Hoop Talk. We'll, bop, bop,
Oh, yeah.
bop, bop.
A 6:30 p.m. walk. I like that.
We're giving this. It's a service. It's like Headspace, the app.
Perfect. Except we make you angry.
Then you got to headspace it after.
Then you have to go to Headspace afterwards.
Okay, we are messy. We've always said this. And as we say, we're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We do not
We're
take
just
our
shit starters.
disclaimer. It's a full disclaimer. This
Shit
podcast
starters.
is not facts.
Like
Okay?
rant.
Everything we learn, we read on the internet. So take it for what it is. We do the internet search for you in some things. With that, I think we're ready to roll. We're going to go quickly into our episode, starting with Women Crush Wednesday when we come back. And we are back. Okay. So Women Crush Wednesday, I just wanted to bring up the Black women in sports journalism or Black women writers that we've been fortunate to see them mostly on Twitter is where I get. I mean, sometimes they're putting out so much information that I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to keep up. And it is amazing to see all of the information, especially around the WNBA. I mean, actually around anything, but for us, we've been really following a lot of women's sports, and a lot of these Black women writers are giving us information, like latest information, or even getting the in-depth conversations. And I know we put a lot of emphasis on the fact that they're not in the newsrooms where they need to be, and that's still a situation. But I just figured, like, let's give a shout out to some of these organizations that are putting out the work. And I'm not gonna name them all. I'm gonna miss some. It's not about getting in your feelings. This is just like a trickle for anybody that's listening that wants to use this as a resource to then go and check these writers or these platforms out that have these women writers. So one of the first one is I subscribe to the Next newsletter. It has several different women writers, also men writers, but mostly women writers. And its focus is to elevate women writers writing about sports. You have Jen Hetfield, you have Dorothy J. Gentry, you have R.A. Chambers, and a bunch of other people that write for it. And I get my newsletter, I subscribe, comes my mailbox. Sometimes I get 5 in one day, because that's how fast sports is moving right now and how fast that they're able to cover it. And I think, you can make I think it's like $5 a month. They have these different levels of subscriptions. And I just feel like these are the types of newsrooms that we need to be supporting if we really want to put our money where our mouth is. And then also, like, I know sometimes I think, like, it sucks that they have to make an other so that they can, like, fix what the problem is. But, maybe at the same time, if, like, we do support them, then they'll be able to have that rise in visibility. Another sport place where I love to watch sports is Sports Talk with Erica Ayala. She does social justice and women's hockey on YouTube, and I believe she's going to start covering the New York Liberty more, like as her team. So she'll be doing more with that. I think she spoke with Kia Clark, the COO, who we've had on our podcast recently. So that is another person I like to on Twitter, as well as like her YouTube page, and she's on Instagram as well. And then there's The Gist, which is another sports newsletter that I subscribe to, and Girl Sports TV on Instagram and on Twitter. Love it. Christina Williams puts out. I am always amazed by how much she puts out on her Instagram in particular, because there's a lot that happens. She stays really, her media stays really ahead of the game. And she also does a lot of really great interviews. Like, she has like a lot. I think she spoke to Renee Montgomery the other day. A lot of really great interviews. So make sure you're following her on Instagram and on Twitter. It's just a fabulous resource. And then our girl Jasmine Baker is always ahead of getting all that information to us. And she does Players in the New. Do you remember the name of her? I forget what it is, like Players in the New Generation or something. And you can subscribe to that on YouTube and check her out. She's also on Instagram and on Twitter. But this Twitter group of women that's writing about, because there's countless, plus we're not even talking about analysts that are out there, and other like ESPN reporters of women of color. There's so many out there. But if you were to just tweak your Twitter feed to maybe not have all the ESPN and all those, and kind of follow more of these women, you will find like the conversations are just they're inspiring, they're thought provoking.
Yep.
I just find, for me, and I think what I like to see in sports, this is where the conversations are really happening, and where you can have, and they talk, they like engage, so it's not like a Woj bomb and then like, art trails.
Yeah.
It's like actually like they're engaging with you and they want to have these conversations. So that's something that I thought would be good to highlight in Women Crush Wednesday. I don't know if you guys have any people that you follow or anything, any perspective on that in particular. Women in sports journalism. I mean,
just open up your mind a little bit. You don't have to, follow the ESPNs, the Bleacher Reports, the big news channels. There are a lot of little guys, little people out there, if you want to call them that, who are doing a lot of great work, and who are digging deeper and have formed relationships either with these athletes or just with people in the industry, and they give a different side that you're not going to hear on these networks that are, telling you what they're going by their corporate plan of what they can and can't say on TV. But there are a lot of people out there who are doing the work on the ground that need to be acknowledged as well. So yeah, tweak your timelines a little bit and join conversations with them, because they will definitely tweet back and have that conversation. So
yeah, we Kyndall, when you were out, we had we talked about that tweet, because we talked about tone policing in the last episode, and we talked about that tweet that about the what's his name, the quarterback, now I can't remember, Drew Brees. And remember that exchange that you and Jasmine Baker had with that one woman who called her rude and called you like, and said to you, oh, that makes sense. And where we're like, dude, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yep. Called her ass out, and she deleted that real quick.
She deleted all of it, and she like, she was like, ugh. But again, I think that we're also in a space where a lot of people are cautious, can be like, they don't want to say, they want to know how to support. At the same time, they're cautious about how they are saying things. And I think that that's okay. But I also think it's okay if you do say something and then you're like, oh, you have to listen to maybe how better to have those conversations. And that's all part of the growth, as long as you're coming from a place where you want to learn and listen. And, I don't know. I just feel like right now, especially on Twitter, that is a place can be a place where it's just a bunch of discourse. Like, I'm just like an anonymous person just going to come out
all
and
the time,
say shit to you. And you're like, okay, I see it all the time. So I think having a support, like other like-minded people, which, I mean, I don't know, I guess you should have the other side of the coin, but it's your fucking Twitter. So block or mute away, do whatever you want,
Yeah.
Well, it's different though. Like, everybody's politicizing this, and to me this isn't politics, this is human rights. So
period.
I can understand like, you need to see both sides of the coin when it comes to politics or issues like that, but like when it comes to this, to me there's one side of the coin, and that's the right side. And that, because this is human rights, this isn't politics. Just like wearing a mask isn't politics,
it's
like
health.
I'm not going to poison my timeline with people who are racist and are, don't want to wear masks, to sexist. Like, that's not, there's no two sides of the coin for me when it comes to that kind of stuff. Politics, sure. Issues, the economy, whatever. Like, we can argue about that crap all day long and whatever. But like, when it comes to this stuff, like, my mental health for me is very important.
Yeah.
And I've been exhausted lately, and I can't imagine the people who are actually experiencing this stuff, how exhausted they are.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that shit. So it's just, there's one right way on all of this for me.
Yeah.
And if you're not on that side, then I really don't want to mess with you.
Peace.
That is so smart. That's a really good way of putting it, because I agree with you. There's only one right side for equality. and human rights. So you're right.
Yeah.
That's spot on with that. I agree. Yeah. And I think mental health is also really, really important.
Big.
I think a lot of it, because guys, this is not going to be like, oh, come September, we've
No.
fixed social
It's
justice. No,
over.
No.
I swear to God that I'll probably be in the grave and we're still going to be having this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And my,
Yeah.
nephews, kids are probably going to be the first ones to have like real law that's benefiting them, or, Olivia's kids.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
And it's crazy because, I've been doing Facebook memories for the last few weeks, and I'm seeing stuff that I'm posting 5 years ago, years ago, that's relevant today in terms of like civil unrest and social injustice. And like, what I was watching last night, Do the Right Thing. And I'm like, how relevant is even a Spike Lee film from way back when to today?
Yeah.
So you're right. It's just like Corona's going to end before that shit.
Yeah. And then we'll see how much racism there is handing out vaccines.
Oh shit! Yeah,
because all
right?
you're gonna
who
see
they're
who's gonna
testing
get that
on.
over.
Who they're
Yeah.
testing
If
on.
you're not wearing a mask, if you're in Trader Joe's screaming and throwing your basket, you don't get a vaccine.
I agree.
Sorry.
Or we tested on you first.
You're like a beagle.
Oh yeah, my friend rescues beagles because they're always used for medical lab testing.
So sad.
Wow, we got a new beagle.
I actually feel bad about it.
We got the new beagle. It's the unmasked. Let's put them in that position.
You're muzzling me.
Oh,
okay. Sorry, if you're wearing a muzzle, that's not what is required. But you seem like you're dumb enough to do that. So
yeah, it's a cloth mask, okay,
yeah.
not a muzzle.
God, like how do we go from a cloth mask to muzzle? Like 0 to 100.
Right.
It's like, oh, you know what? Cloth bag over my head with a rope. Like, okay, how did we go? What were the steps in your brain that went from a bandana, if you will?
Right. He's like,
to,
you're making me go out and buy a NASA spacesuit?
Yeah. No, like women are dramatic. Oh, black people are making it up that they don't get medical care. Okay, sure. Like,
so there was a friend of ours tweeted, even Bane wore a mask and he's a dick.
That's a good one. Retweet that.
God,
it's so true. Like, geez, Louise.
Hello, Darth Vader.
Yeah, and he was pure evil. So use the force to not even save his ass. He needed to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Yes. So going back to, this is going to be a long haul. Your mental health is important. Block the people you need to block. There's only really one side to, human rights, equality, those things we should not be arguing anybody about. So just get rid of them and go and support Black women in sports journalism, women in journalism.
Period.
Just like go and open your mind to the perspectives that are out there, because it's so rich. Like, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and we hope people can get a little bit a different side of talking about sports and a space where they feel like they can do it.
And this might sound rando, but when you were talking about discourse on social, it's like, what sucks for women in sports is to know that you made it when you have trolls, like, because you're actually getting visibility and reach, and people are upset subconsciously about your success and your knowledge of a game. Isn't that fucked? Like, shouldn't you be happy on top and like Vans? But that's the world.
Well, and it's also things we do to help us, feel like we're getting, sometimes we have to turn those things into a positive for our own mental health.
True.
Like, oh, all good PR, what is it? Any PR is good
any
PR.
Publicity
and you're
is
like,
good publicity.
I don't know about that, but we have a lot of systems, not just in, politically and in reform, but we have systems in corporate America that we work in that also need to be dismantled. And it's like, just, it's a long, long, long haul, guys. So make sure that you're following the people that are going to help you through this, and that you can take a break and you feel free to like block and mute and do what you need to do, because social can be extra. But there's a lot of people out there too that we follow, that we love, and you get some perspective there.
And I'm more woke because of Black Twitter. That's it. I mean, I wouldn't be getting this.
That's the tweet. That is the tweet. So that's what I wanted to bring to Women Crush Wednesday. So thanks for
good.
I'm telling you, we'll have all of them. We'll put all of them in our show notes. But with that, I think we're going to move on to our sports in the age of coronavirus when we are back. And we're back. So that's all. Here's Karen ruining my cuts, but
hoops are off. I started.
Hoops are off right now on Karen ruining my cuts for these episodes. How is it already 11? Okay. And we're back. So we're going to start with, I wanted to talk about today, the National Women's Soccer League is the first professional sports league to resume play in the United States. So
women always doing it first, pioneers.
Always leading the way.
Always leading the way.
God damn. So MLB, and I think MLB said they were going to be the first ones. Well, you're not. Okay. And that's okay.
That's okay.
You're going to be fine. No tears. You can try with the millions. Just like, be okay with your mitts and what have you. But I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not sorry to tell you. I'm excited to tell you. National Women's Soccer League started. And I watched, it started at 9:30. It's on CBS. So go watch it, support it. CBS Access, and Twitch. I think you can see it. So it was, I would assume they would have jitters, right? Because there's not only coronavirus that they're having to work around, but also the fact that they are out nationally on television, the first sports league to go out there and do that. And how do you want to use your platform? Right?
Yes.
How do you want to come out on your platform? So they came out during warm-up wearing Black Lives Matters t-shirt, both teams. And during the saxophone playing
the sax guy.
Bill Clinton saxophone.
Well, okay. I know this is a side note, but saxophones, I don't
Sexy.
know.
Sometimes they slap. I'm not even gonna lie.
Okay.
Sometimes when I'm listening to a song and the sax just comes on in, I'm like, okay.
Okay.
A
all
sax
right.
is
I pick up a little.
Yeah. Okay.
Saxy.
There is sometimes, but then there's other times where you're like, I don't know how the sax is going. How's the sax going?
How's the sax going? It's a little bumpy. It's
okay. The sax is kind of cheesy.
Bad sax.
Michael Bolton, cheesy.
No, it's what's his name? Kenny G.
Kenny G, both of them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I get both of them mixed up with their curly long.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm just like, when like a moment is really poignant and then like something comes on the screen where you're like, is that a saxophone player? It's just like, okay, sorry. This is a really important point I was trying to make. So they were wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts as their warm up. And then they took a knee during the national anthem while it was being blown by the sax. And then the announcer, okay, I wrote it down. I actually put it on, I posted this on our Hoops Talk Instagram, but the announcer asked for a moment of silence to recognize the countless names of victims of racial injustices here and abroad and stand with those that have fought for equality worldwide and continue to fight today. He then said, with our collective voices, we emphatically say Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the National Women's Soccer League has now created the blueprint for
Yes.
all other sports that are going to start
Baseline.
Mm-hmm.
on how you can use your platform.
Yep.
And also in like an authentic voice. You know, you're not just slapping a black square onto your timeline.
Yep.
You're really understanding that this is a moment and that you need to make these statements. You need to make these statements. These statements you need to make all the time. And that they use the collective voice. You know, he said he's all Black Lives Matter. Like
Ooh, yeah.
it was like
Poignant.
passion. It was just like, guys, I don't need it. You know, do you ever like say something? You're like, why do I have to keep saying this?
Right.
It's the truth.
Why do I have to repeat myself?
But it's the truth. And so they started off that way, and it was powerful. And I mean, it was so cool to see. It brought tears to my eyes because I was just like, you know, this is fucking dope. Like, this is what we want. This is what's going to catapult. This is a catalyst for other leagues that start up. And we hope that we can see this. And I don't know. I feel like women in sports have always, I mean, social justice and equality has always been, you know, them being in sports is a form of resistance.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and them showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always like part of the drum beating within women in sports, or women talking about, just like women have always had to have this drum beating in them. So it was really great to see.
Extra job that we have to take on.
Yeah.
Because
extra job, extra burden.
Well, it's just because we woke up, we were born female.
I know the bottle already got ripped out of the teeth already got ripped out of our mouth real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, well, our counterparts were learning how to walk. We already had to run. So it's just, that's just the way it was. That's just the way it was.
That's kind of like what I was saying earlier about how you're noticing like all of these women from the WNBA who are foregoing their season,
their career,
which, you know, they get paid a fraction of what, you know, bench players in the NBA get paid.
Yep.
And they're risking it all and foregoing their entire seasons and pausing their careers because they want to go out. They know that they're more than an athlete and they want to go out and help their communities. Meanwhile, you've got NBA players who are like bound and determined to go to and continue their season, who have millions sitting in the bank. They could use this moment to take the, you know, month and a half of their season, the 22 games that are, you know, coming up, to do the same thing, and they aren't doing it. It's just like women are constantly the ones who are like, you know, taking it for the team.
Take it for the team. Let me sacrifice for the fam.
Yeah.
Well, and they have everything to lose. They have to work twice as hard. They don't get the recognition.
No.
They don't have mounds of Scrooge McDuck money sitting in their bank account.
Yeah, they got a budget. Like, they got to budget them groceries.
Right. And then they got to go overseas and to, you know, even kind of equal out what they're And yet they're still the ones who are like, you know what? This is bigger than me. I'm going to forego the season and I'm going to work on this instead of in basketball. It's not like they've been working their entire lives. This is their dream career. And they're still like, I'm going to put this on hold.
Yeah. And we've also talked to, you know, we talked to someone on our other podcast, and we were saying how there's not that many slots for WNBA players.
144.
Either. Yeah. Think about that. So you are, you know, you've worked so hard to get one spot in this very small, you know, field. And yet you're like, you know, I'm going to have to forego it because I have this, you know, we need to do better on a social justice front. Yeah. Which, I mean, I totally agree with. You know, I think it's
so wild to me. But even with them doing that, they're still not getting the credit. It's those also the guys who are like, you know what, I'm just going to write a check, or I'm going to go on this podcast and talk about it. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But like, these people are legitimately putting their careers and their dreams to the side to do something that's bigger than them.
Yeah.
That's just insane to me.
Like, that's us taking a paid 1 year leave. Yeah. unpaid leave, 1 year leave
Yeah.
of work. Like,
Yeah.
because that salary is about equivalent to what we make in a year. Like, that's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
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 It's just so wild.
Well, so who do we have that have recently? Chrissy Tolliver and Chiney Umake have opted out for the season.
Tasha Cloud.
Yeah, Natasha Cloud, Tiffany Hayes from The Dream, John Quell Jones of The Sun,
Renee Montgomery. Yeah.
from Dream, Latoya Sanders of The Mystics, and Cecilia Zandalanzini from The Lynx, which I don't
And Maya
remember.
Moore.
Well,
There will be more.
Maya,
Maya
Maya
in
Moore.
general, even
which
last
is
season.
like I don't know. I was kind of peeved because I'm like, ESPN's barely picking up on our story and blowing it up, and I'm like, have you not been around? Like, she's been doing this for a while now.
Where were you last year?
Yeah. So,
And
but
she's 30 years old.
yeah,
She left at the peak of her
Peak.
career.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's the the thing is, I haven't seen a formalized official roster for the teams yet, so I haven't checked. It's pretty early Saturday. A lot of people were thinking there was going to be more movement yesterday because that was the deadline, but there were big players here that we've named that decided to opt out, but I'm wondering when those final rosters will be up and out. I think they were, in some ways, I feel maybe the WNBA was trying to stay out of the news cycle for like a minute, while things were still going on behind, because to be quite honest, like, I don't know, there's still time for this not to happen. There's still plenty of time for this not to happen or to go differently. So we'll see, and that's more due to coronavirus than it is about, the discussions that we're having on social injustice and Black Lives Matters and the movement. So we'll see what happens there. There's still a lot of time, but these players are making those decisions now before the decisions are made for them, and I think it's very powerful to see. And it's a complicated situation because they want to play, but they have their belief systems are saying, if we play, that takes focus away from what we need to get done, and it will. I mean, a lot of, like, an NBA, they say, well, I think it was Doc Rivers who was like, well, I think differently because I feel like we're going to be on a national stage and we can use every minute of that to talk about it and think about it and stuff. And it's just like, how difficult is it for you guys to multitask on very important things? You know what I mean? So you're asking these players, these athletes, to go out and do everything they can. First off, they're going in the mentality of, I might get coronavirus. I might get sick. I might get family members sick. We don't have a vaccine. I'm playing Russian roulette with my health right now. So that's one. To go out and play all out to win championships and make money for the NBA and themselves. Okay. Then you want them to finish the game and then come out and start talking about social justice and talk about Black Lives Matter, because it can't just be them wearing like a t-shirt. Like, they they are in one of the most viewed, especially people of color, Black people of color, leagues.
Yep.
And so they are held to a higher standard when it comes to what they're going to say and how they're going to say it. And so it's like, okay, so you want them to think about Corona, exert all their energy, and then come out and talk about it. And it's just like, that's a lot to put on people.
That also, like, the media isn't right now. The media doesn't have like stats and shit to be reporting on, right? So they're having to write in order for them to get paid.
They're being forced
they're being forced to write about what's happening in the world. Once you bring the game back, those questions aren't gonna. Every question in that post-game press conference isn't gonna be about the movement that's happening. It's gonna be about, hey, in the third quarter this happened. What do you think? Like,
exactly.
That's where the focus gets taken away. Is they can go out there and do, maybe in the first quarter or every quarter we're at the 8:46 mark, they take a pause. They can go out and do all of that. But once the game ends and the media starts taking control, like that's where the message gets lost, because they're not going to ask questions like that anymore. They're going to ask about the game and what's life like in the bubble with Corona. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where the focus takes a turn.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm glad to see that that these conversations are happening. And like I said, we don't even know if it's going to happen. Like the schedules are out, at least from the NBA side. And allegedly the roster should be set for WNBA. We just don't know, like, because going to Florida and being in a bubble to me sounds like you are destined
hell
to
on
die.
earth.
Yeah. And then we have Karen, what do you have here about the owner, Kelly Loeffler?
Yeah, I guess she's a senator, Kelly Loeffler. She's a co-owner of the Dream, and she was on Fox saying they were talking about
let's just stop right there. She was on Fox. Okay.
And her problematic quote was, Black Americans in Atlanta who are openly carrying guns while protesting the death of Rayshard Brooks at the hands of police were an example of mob rule.
Okay.
So WNBA, where you at?
Yeah. Says the lady who bought stocks and shit and medical supplies when she knew the pandemic was happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's the WNBA on that, huh? Where's the league on that?
Okay. The league needs to strip her of ownership immediately.
She's Ronald Sterling. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah. They need to just ASAP. She does not see people. She sees people as a commodity. She could talk like this about, again, Kyndall, to your point, there is only one side. There's the right. Well, there's two, right and wrong. And she's on the wrong side and she needs to be stripped. And those are the things. You know what? Again, we love seeing the players have the face and the visibility and the platform, right? To connect with people, to get them, to incite them to be part of the movement and conversation. But at the ownership level and at the leadership level, if those changes are not made and taken seriously, then we're just a bunch of worker bees going around and bumping into one another. Okay.
Exactly.
There needs to be in leadership, there needs to be in NBA and WNBA. Like, you can't fucking let people that make decisions
and make the money
have these positions of power. It's just not.
Not to mention, her ass should be in Martha Stewart jail right now. So.
Right. White collar jail. Yeah, at least.
It should be.
Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
You have no room to fucking talk when your ass should be behind bars right now.
Exactly.
Fucked.
What kind of fucking rule is that you get off but doing insider trading?
Double standard.
She needs to be stripped of the team.
On a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Profiting off a pandemic.
On a pandemic.
I mean, honestly,
fucking bitch.
The worst part about it is that then also, the players are the ones, the Atlanta Dream are the players are the ones that are going to have the burden of what she's fucking said to try to make things better. And you're just like, again.
She's just going to wipe her hands of it and go on and do her bullshit.
They should all just boycott and not play this season.
Well, that's the other thing too.
What money is she gonna get?
I know, but at the same time, you're like, okay, you're putting that burden back on the fucking players.
Yeah, true.
That who have made the decision that they want to play and they want to play during the pandemic, and this is something that they want to do, and it's just like, fuck, how can you win?
Yeah.
It's like so selfish. And honestly, if the ideology that she has is that, get rid of her. Get rid of her. And you know what? Why?
Get rid of her.
It's also bullshit that you have to have a video or recording of these people. She's right there on Fox News. Take that. And just be like, okay, you said this shit on national TV. You thought it was okay to say this shit on national TV. Okay.
Right. What do you say behind closed doors?
You didn't have to have a mistress secretly record you.
Right.
You went on national TV and
Willingly.
said the bullshit that you said.
Yep.
So just take that.
Stop.
Take that footage.
Yeah.
Just be like, you're out.
I mean, we have footage of murder, straight murder, and those cops aren't being arrested.
And you know what? Those same people, what is it? Ron Sterling, is that his name for the Clippers?
Mm-hmm.
The same people that had the fucking energy to get him kicked out should have the same energy to get her kicked out.
Boom.
It's the same fucking thing.
Keep that energy.
God damn. Hoops off right now.
Whoa. Take it.
Yeah, she wasn't saying that shit when there was white people with their guns.
Exactly, and she was
faces because they didn't want to wear a mask.
Yeah, I think she was referring to 3 guys in a legally open carry state.
She should be talking about shit.
Yeah, she can't talk about anything when she's been freaking making money off a pandemic that has killed over 120,000 people.
Yeah, like why was she
Your
being
opinion
interviewed?
does not matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But because she's profiteering off of a pandemic, people. 1, that just right there. 2, she's talking. She has this ideology. I don't understand. I want to see the same energy.
And she fucking Ann Coulter. Let's talk about that too. She looks like Ann Coulter.
Well, I mean, they all look alike.
This is true.
It's definitely a suit.
They're all named Karen. They're all named Karen. And
Karen, you need to break the mold for the Karens.
I already have. I'm brown.
We might have to start calling them Kellys.
I'm Kelly Kapowski? No.
No.
Diane.
Oh, man. Okay. Moving on quickly.
We got to take a deep breath. A little
I know.
space.
I'm going to take a deep breath. Well, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about WNBA? I mean, it's, like I said, it's going to start, and I haven't seen final rosters, but follow a lot of, what is it? Winsider, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of different Twitter handles, whatever, that you can follow and get more information.
Just shout out to the WNBA being at the forefront of all of the causes, doing the petitions to get the names changed on the back of their jerseys.
Yep.
Wanting hashtag say her name on their courts, foregoing their seasons. They really are like taking the charge. That league is chef's kiss.
Then let's get rid of Kelly.
And they have a lot of Black and people of color in leadership positions too.
True.
One of the few.
Yes.
So big shout out to them. They are definitely the leads, taking the lead. So moving on to the NBA on a, kind of a positive. I mean, I don't know. Vince Carter announced he is going to retire. I love that dude, and I hate that he had to go out this way.
It took Corona to get him to stop playing the NBA, okay? Because he was like, Florida.
Yeah.
So sad.
I know.
That's my dude. I wore number
End of an era.
15 when I played basketball because of Vince Carter.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
He's one of my faves.
Well, it's sad that we're not going to see him, exchange jerseys with people on the court.
Sweaty jerseys.
Yeah, sweaty jerseys, or give shoes to, kids in the crowds. And
they need to have a big
getting
Vince
his
Carter
last
retirement party. Yeah.
That was the thing. It's like, I know, like, there was a lot of those retirement tours, like Dirk Nowitzki and D Wade. And I know there was a debate, like, should every fucking player have these retirement tours? And so what someone came up with or asked, like, should Carmelo Anthony get one? And I don't know. I don't feel like it.
I feel like Vince Carter definitely should.
I've agreed.
I mean, he brought basketball to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
He put it on the map there. Not to mention he's the greatest dunker of all time.
Agreed.
And just so much fun to watch. He definitely should. Carmelo, though.
I kind of feel like he's had a retirement tour with all the teams he's been on in his
life. That was he has a long retirement tour. It's not 1 year or one season.
Yeah, I feel like he's done that. Like, he's literally changed jerseys.
Or
like 4 or 5 times.
Or they've all been like, you should retire.
Well, because I think
Yeah.
he said he wanted to end with Portland, but then something about the Knicks wanting to bring him back. I don't know. Just stay away from the Knicks.
I can't. Stay away
Why
from the
would
Knicks.
he want to go back?
I know,
Why would he want
right?
to do that to himself?
Ugh.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things, like, if you start giving it to everybody, it starts to lose its meaning. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like saying I love you, right? Like, if you tell every single person you love them, like, do you mean it at this point? Like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta save the special for
Like
Yeah.
everyone
the
gets a
special.
reward at the end here.
Yeah.
like Dirk Nowitzki definitely deserved one, right?
Yeah.
I feel he
Dwayne
deserved
Wade,
one.
like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And I think Vince, I mean, he played 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I think he
deserves that.
deserved one.
And I don't
So
think they
some
did
guys,
I don't think they did like jersey swaps when Kobe's last season. I feel like I feel like that's
that
recent.
was a new thing. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
recent thing.
I think teams like gave him special. Like I
Gifts and
remember when he
stuff.
went to the Mavs, I think he got the like special boots made or something like that.
Right.
But I don't.
Right.
It wasn't like this big blown out Last Dance type thing like Dwayne
Right.
Wade had.
I know in baseball they did that for Mariano Rivera, which was awesome. Like he did like a huge, which he deserved. I mean, the man literally could like end a game with 6 pitches. And I think he only had like 2 types of pitches. And he could strike out 3 guys in a row with just like 2 pitches. My husband was there for his last game in the Yankee Stadium, and he said he cried like a baby. Like my husband and his friend, like everybody was crying like a baby.
I'm sure.
So yeah, I would say Vince Carter. They need to do a some sort of retirement tour.
I think he has the longest NBA career because Robert Parrish was #1 prior for 21 years, and Vince Carter's played for 22.
22.
Oh my God.
Then he deserves, you know what I mean? For that.
Why he should just opt out this season and then come back in the following season and do the tour. I don't know. I just feel like he got
sign with the Raptors. He needs to sign with the Raptors. Get out of the Hawks organization.
Yeah. Or he could just go to the games and pick up ball. He could just sub for everybody.
Well, that is, you know what? Why doesn't he go back to the Raptors? That would be epic. If he signed back with the Raptors and they bring back their throwback jerseys, oh,
the dinosaur.
Epic.
Yeah. The dinosaur.
I will wear the dinosaur.
I've been looking for a Vince Carter dinosaur jersey
for
a while. One that isn't like break the bank. I can find some that are like ridiculously expensive, but not about that. I just want a nice, cheap Vince Carter dinosaur jersey. Keep that in mind.
We'll keep an eye out for sure. Okay, so that is happening. He announced his retirement. Let's see. Sorry, I had a really big sneeze there, which I muted myself on. Oh God. So as we move on, 16 of the 302 players that have been tested have tested positive for coronavirus. So as I mentioned before, it's the NBA's car is on fire and they're driving into the fire because you're already getting people testing. And if you think about it, the players should already be heading to Florida right now so they can do a 14-day quarantine and then start their training camps, right? So that they then can start playing in July. That makes sense to me. So they all should be heading over there. So you get tested, you get quarantined, you get tested, and then you start training camps, and then you get tested, and then you quarantine, and you get tested. I mean, it's just the way that it has to be. Like,
sounds fun.
I know, right? It's just like the difference being too that you have these leagues that are these games that are playing in a closed arena, right? So you have closed arena and you have contact. Like it's a contact sport. Basketball is a contact sport. Football is a contact sport. Those types of contact sports, I would assume that the risk is higher. When we're talking about, like, for instance, the National Women's Soccer League that started, your open air, It's not as much contact. Although social distancing is a little bit like, not. I mean, I've been watching them play, and when you're in there with the ball, you're very close to one another, and you're probably breathing heavily. But also like baseball. I mean, for real, like you
first
probably
base, second base, pitcher, the catcher, and that's a hard.
If you're gonna get fucking COVID, it's probably because you're spitting sunflower seeds out at the dugout. It's not because
or chew.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with you being out on the field where you're like yards away from each other. And like unless you get COVID from smelling butt, the catcher is safe also, right?
Wonder how they're gonna set up the dugout. That'll be interesting.
Well, they've already done it at Korean baseball.
Okay.
And I don't see any social distancing, so I don't know. Like they all seem to be next to another.
Well, Korea they actually took this shit
they cleaned
from day one. So.
Day one, yeah. And they test everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
They've had like 1,000 cases, I think.
Yeah. Was it Korea too? Like if you're quarantined for 2 weeks, the government actually sends you groceries and care packages? Like
Yep.
You mean they have leadership in their country?
Yeah, a female leader.
God, I cry every day. Every day I still cry. I cry.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. So basically they're starting this up, and as we know, Florida just had about 9,000 cases in one day.
Fuck.
So they're hot spotting. They're getting there. So like I said, who knows if it will happen. But the first game
and the median age is going down.
Yeah.
For cases too.
Definitely.
So for all those who are like, oh, it's just old people in nursing homes. No, it's not.
No, I heard California has the most young people too with testing positive. So
yeah, because we're all like, it won't happen to me. I'm gonna go to the bar.
I know.
And then you fucking get coronavirus and you're spreading it around everywhere.
Well, there's the asymptomatic stuff is what's really scary too, because there was just a woman that flew in from Germany to LAX who wasn't showing signs, and then she ended up spreading it. And they had to tell everyone in the plane, and they had a contact trace to all the places she's been.
Is this the Delta one, the one in March, or this is something else?
No, this is new.
Oh,
I just read about it. They're like, how did the virus come through LAX? And they had a write-up on it in the LA Times.
Dang.
So I'm just like, dudes, what? Like,
and why was she traveling? For what? For pleasure?
I don't know. I'm not going to condemn the woman because she probably did all the protocols, but at the same time, it's like, was that essential flight needed? Like, I know people that have driven, people drive.
Yeah, that's fine.
Drive to the destination, wear a fucking diaper, especially if you're going through Arizona, and, do not stop there, please.
Piss in a bush.
Yeah. No. Wear a diaper and just deal with yourself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's what's scary. And, it was funny because, I mean, I don't want to get all into the politics of this, but they just had a press conference, because shit is spiking. And it was the first time the Corona task force had met in 2 months. Okay. So 2 months, right?
2 months?
2 months they hadn't met.
They didn't have a daily stand-up?
No. Why?
No, because Mike Pence is a fucking loser.
Oh yeah. And they got defunded.
So they had, and they were like, we just really want to make sure that the young people, 40 and younger, really understand that it's really responsible. And this was like doing this shit. And I was just like thinking to myself, like, why would any young person take this seriously or care about wearing a mask or do any of that when you have the leader of this country who is a fucktard, ass clown, doesn't wear a mask, and on top of it decides to throw 2 rallies in 2 places where protocols are in place that say do not do this, and flaunts it. And then the second rally is filled with young people, idiots, who are there waiting for him to say racist shit so they could be like, woo, flush the toilet sound, because we're on some sort of shock jock show with this stand-up comedian, and I'm just like, oh, it's just so infuriating. I'm just like, why would anyone listen to him? And then And on top of it, they're like, well, we want each state to deal with it. How is that working out, sir?
Oh, I know that.
How is that working out?
Because the countries who
It's
fought it in
pathetic.
Europe was a countrywide situation, not like, based off state, based off county.
And you know what other...
He's pathetic. He's been pathetic since he was governor of Indiana, and he had a fucking HIV outbreak. So yeah, let's put the guy who had an HIV outbreak in charge of the coronavirus pandemic.
Right? That's the stupidest
because that
shit.
makes sense. Not only that, but anytime he gets up to talk, he talks for like 2 seconds, and then he lets somebody else go in, and he just fades away like that Homer Simpson in the bush gif, where he's just like, like he just wants to go on walks with mother, and
pretty much.
you know, S trumps D. That's all he wants to
pretty
do.
much.
SAD.
He doesn't give a shit.
Right.
That's why.
Fucked.
I'm telling you,
STD.
It's nauseating. It's nauseating. It's nauseating. And well, the first games in Florida,
DTW.
are going to be
back to the sport.
Back to NBA, because the first games are going to be Utah and New Orleans, which I guess they're going to dip the toe of those teams into the coronavirus first, see clean up the air there, and then Clippers and Lakers, which I will watch.
Yeah, I was like, if anything, that's the one that everyone's going to watch.
Who you kidding? I'm going to be there. I'm going to be sitting with my claw and my chips, and I'm gonna be watching this.
The claw.
I'll watch, but I won't be happy about it.
I mean, we're gonna hate watch.
Yeah, it's a hate watch. I just want to see what they end up doing, and then that's probably gonna be it.
The good thing is,
I am so against this. We
have been.
Yeah, this is such a Trump conference, right? Hate watch it.
Even when so I guess in March, when the clamp down was the safer at home. And there was still how we're going to work all this shit out. So, I mean, I would say mid-April, maybe even end of March, beginning of April, everybody was kind of okay, what's going on? And then finally we put our fucking foot down, and you go back to our fucking
we got
podcast,
receipts.
And we said it should not return. Receipts. Yes. We got the long ass CVS receipts. It looks like the Declaration of Independence receipt that we have signed. That said, no, NBA should not return. Sports should not return. And this was before, I mean, yes, social justice has always been things that we talk about. I mean, this is what the fucking podcast is about. But we were just thinking pandemic at that time.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that all that crazy shit that ensued after wasn't even a factor.
Yeah. It wasn't a factor in the forefront of our conversations.
But as it rolled up, it made us cement our stance even more.
We have always said, just stop this. And, it's hard for people because they want to be not even they want to be balanced. They just want to be how do I not, disenfranchise myself in sports by saying things that are unpopular. And it's unpopular to say that we don't want that sports shouldn't start. Well, I'm sorry, but it shouldn't.
Yeah, and then we're going to be nags, and then later we'll have to be like, I told you so.
Yep.
Well, no, because they're going to... Go ahead.
What I was going to say, at the beginning of the ESPYs that just happened, they had a really awesome opening, and something that stuck with me was, I can't remember if it was Rapinoe or Sue Bird.
I think Sue.
But they said, I think it was Sue. She said, maybe this is the reset that we all needed. She was like, this totally sucks. We haven't had sports. We're used to having sports, but maybe this is the reset button that everybody in the country, the world really needed to take a step back and start thinking about your neighbor and start showing compassion and start really looking at what's happening in the world. And the NBA is yeah, but let's come back anyways. I don't know. I just feel we all work in sports.
Yep.
Obviously I get paid because of sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm totally in that mentality that it's been kind of nice not having it and being able to focus on other things that are going on in the world and just take a a reset and relax and like
Yeah.
get to focus on other things.
Yeah.
And that's like, what is 22 games gonna do? Nothing. You're not gonna sit. Your ass may be bored in quarantine, but you're sure as shit not gonna sit down and watch every fucking team play 22 games.
No.
Like,
No.
it's just so pointless to me. Focus on next season and making that like super awesome, and how you're gonna blow up this message of social justice reform and
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
coronavirus, the pandemic, and like
Yeah.
taking care of each other. I don't
And-
know. Let's push this stupid ass season through.
And think of it even from a smaller scale. Like, these guys have a chance to spend more time with their families, which they can't in the midst of
Yeah.
a career.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but like people are like, there's not gonna be an asterisk by this champion.
Mm.
There
There
sure as
is.
shit is. Because
Yes.
teams that have had injuries, they've had months now to recover from those injuries that they wouldn't have had the season just continued right through.
Exactly.
Not only that, but people are sitting out now because of the pandemic. So there's like star athletes that aren't playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
people are definitely going to get sick during this and have to quarantine.
Yep.
And then those people aren't a factor. Like, there is 1,000% going to be an asterisk by anybody that wins this.
Yeah.
And I will fight that to the death.
Yeah. Also because like we said, you know, you're not just playing basketball. You are trying not to get sick, and you're trying to
Mhm.
bring social justice to the forefront of a conversation while you're playing. So there is no way that you're going in with just a mindset to like put a ball in a basket.
Right.
There isn't. That just can't. That is not your only, you know, mental
If
state.
anything, this seems just like a really like glorified AAU tournament.
Yeah.
Oh shit, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
they're
true.
playing a million
Facts.
games a day. They're all staying in hotels. They're all playing ping pong and whatever. Like, it's just a really like famous AAU tournament.
Which, I mean, if you think about it too, like, I don't think they should be in contact with each other after the games and like playing ping pong and
No,
eating communally.
no.
I mean,
Just
I would
because it's a
think
bubble, no.
yeah, you should just go back to your room. I mean, honestly, like, think about how this protocol needs to be. You know, it's not. There's just so much stuff, and like I said, we have said that sports should not come back, and we all get paid by sports, and we all live in sports, and you know, luckily we've had this time to talk about. I mean, we've not really been these huge analysts that talk about stats and what have you, and have those questions about gameplay. But everybody's been able to focus more on those narratives. And maybe they should just use some of the data points that are coming out of these conversations and about what people are interested in listening to, so they can build better systems to get those, you know, those stories out and work with people like that, instead of, you know, what they're thinking of is we've lost revenue that we would have gotten during the playoffs, and now we're going to lose revenue if we don't play. So how do we then make the revenue to sustain? And it's just like, you know what, buddy, if you as a league have not saved up for a rainy day, then that's on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And someone can't get their Bugatti or their new mansion. Some of those owners might have to sell their Hamptons house.
Sell an island.
Yeah, they may not be
like,
able to do
there's
these
other things that you guys could be doing. Like, just for instance, like, rather than having a AAU tournament, why don't you do like a team-wide Zoom meeting where people can pay $10 to come in and talk to their favorite athletes about social justice reform or whatever the heck you guys want to talk about? People would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If you knew that like Dame was on the other side, Kawhi, LeBron, whoever was in this, I would pay $20 to join a Zoom meeting and be in with those guys. Like, there's some revenue for you. Make shirts for like the Black Lives Matter thing and sell it on the NBA store.
Oh,
There's
hell
another
yeah.
revenue
People
stream.
would cop
Like,
that for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like, again, you see the players doing these things. You see the players having these conversations. You see the athletes investing their own time and energy to do these things. And yet you're not seeing franchises that are also supporting it. You know, where to your point, Kyndall, they could be making that revenue through those avenues. Like the New York Liberty did a whole entire Pride Week this past week, and they had panels. It was all free though, but they had panels and speakers. And so you see that as a franchise, a model that could say like, hey, you know what, these conversations are still important as a franchise. Like, how are we contributing to our fans and our community as a franchise conversation?
And not only that, but like people just want their favorite athletes. Like, imagine if you were in a Zoom meeting with all of the Lakers.
I would die.
How fucking cool that would be.
Oh,
like,
I would die.
And
I love it.
People pay hundreds of dollars to go to a game and watch them and have zero interaction with them.
Yep.
Imagine paying $25, maybe even
or even more. Yeah. Charge more for that shit.
To do a Zoom with the entire team, and you have the option to actually speak with the players.
Right.
People would pay up the ass for that. But no, let's put everybody in danger and go play in the hot spot of where all this is taking place.
I mean, honestly, you could just pay like the ticket price.
Right.
You go in there.
And your season ticket holders will have access to all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
All digital appearances.
There's a lot of things, but you know, they need to have us in the room. They need to have people like us in the room that are going to say like, this is happening. This should happen.
They don't.
Moving on, of course, MLB is also another one that decided they were going to start, which, like I said, I feel like the MLB is definitely one of those leagues that has more of a potential to be safer because it's outdoors and the distance between bases and what have you.
You said Korean baseball's been on.
Yep.
They've been doing it.
I mean, the only thing is like they do lick their fingers a lot and like with the balls, and they always scratch their nuts. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of a solo contact
nuts
sport,
and
if you
butt
will.
crack. Oh,
it's most of the nuts. So I don't really see them pick their butt, but it's their balls.
I mean, instead of bat boys, they should just be going around with hand sanitizer and wipes.
Not a bad idea. Maybe they will.
Maybe. So that's the June 30th is when they want them to report, so then they can start training, and the season opener is July 23rd, 24th. I would be happy to watch. I mean, I'm not a huge baseball fan. So my team's the Yankees because I was kind of rolled into it with my husband. And I'm like, whatever, I'll watch the Dodgers, whatever. But that's something that's definitely made for you to waste time. That is a sport that really, Kyndall, you love golf. Like, it's another sport where you're just like, I'm going to sit here and I know I'm probably going to fall asleep.
That's why I like golf.
But that's all right.
Still going.
I know a good couch nap is in my future.
For sure. Well, when I watch baseball or when he has baseball on, I know it's like a good cat nap. It's going to come around like the third inning. I'll be waking up for the seventh inning stretch.
Yep.
And actually watching it at home, I could still get beer after the seventh inning. So it's actually better to watch it at home.
And you don't have to wear a bra.
It's cheaper too.
Yeah, I may not wear one at the stadium either.
Oh,
I mean, it's a whole new revolution, people.
It is. Burn the bras, ladies. It's time.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? I never want to see one of those ever again. The worst. I mean, unless, like a sports bra, because if you're like running, which, come on.
Who's doing that? Over here eating a muffin. Who the fuck's running?
Fucking cinnamon rolls.
More like couch rolls.
Hey, no shame. We are going back to the earth. Okay?
Yeah.
It's natural. So that's happening, which I mean, like I said, MLB, I'm fine with. Like, that's cool. Whatever. And okay, so we got to talk about NASCAR. NASCAR. So yeah, NASCAR is racist. I mean, maybe not NASCAR. Like, they came out.
Their audience,
they're trying to do
their audience,
their culture.
I know, and you mentioned too. NBA is a predominantly black league, and their audiences are predominantly black. NASCAR is the opposite of that, and they're over here behind Bubba. Nuts.
It's NASCAR to me is going to be very, very interesting to keep our eyes on, right? Because they took the Confederate flag, down. They're like, no. Which, I mean, yeah.
They've had a
They
long
ripped
time
it
ago.
from crying white hands.
People are still wearing it like they're
Confederacy's
draping their
taking
body.
L's
Big L's. Big L's.
all over the place.
Statues being toppled.
Nothing
Yeah.
but L's.
Like, I don't, okay, so just quickly, the Junipero Serra statues have been torn down. And let me tell you about Junipero Serra. This is fucking hoops off right here. He was a bastard monster, sadistic beast. So he should have never had any fucking statues up in anywhere. The atrocities that he did to the people that were natives here, or just in general, that didn't believe in his ideology. We had to do projects about Junipero Serra and the missions that he made in school, like 4th grade. And I'm just like, how are you teaching this monster? It wasn't until I got into college where I took, my own studies. I'm like, oh my God, this is disgusting. So you know what? Topple him down. And all of those, those are all just symbols of losers who wanted to keep in social injustice going, and I don't understand why they have any fucking commemoration.
And it's one thing to normalize it, but then to idolize it, fuck that.
I'm done.
Fuck.
What I don't understand though is people are acting like these statues, which I'm sorry, you get a statue if you're somebody you're celebrating. Look outside Staples Center; they got statues of Gretzky, Shaq, Kareem, whoever.
Yes,
like. Celebrate people with statues. You don't just like Germany wasn't like Hitler was part of our history.
Yeah,
let's
just
buy
one
statue.
Right.
Erasing our history.
Yeah,
it's like
but
no.
also, like, you can't erase history. And this, not only that, but like people aren't going to like Mount Vernon or wherever and like ripping down the house. They're ripping down the statues that people put up to celebrate these people.
Right, exactly.
They aren't going to actual historical places and being like, this place needs to just get wiped the fuck out because of its history. That's not what they're doing. Statues are not historical spots. They're monuments to people, and these people are awful fucking assholes.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you're not erasing history. The history is still there.
But at least now you don't have this expensive reminder for people who generational trauma have to like look at it and see it every fucking day.
But
like,
then they're like, how are we going to learn about the history? When have you ever walked up to a statue and been like, I'm going to take notes?
Yeah.
They don't teach it.
They don't teach you anything.
I was like, 35 when I learned about Juneteenth.
They don't teach. Yeah, you're right. History is still going to be there because it's history. I don't like. I can't. I'm exhausted. I can't explain the science of history to you.
So
it doesn't get erased.
It's just so dumb. Oh, you're erasing my Southern culture. No, we're erasing your racist fucking culture that literally was about 5 years long, and you're latching onto this racist ass flag as if it's like the history of our entire country.
It is
like,
not.
No, you guys fucking lost.
Yeah. Yes.
You're latching onto a flag of a loser. You racist piece of shit.
That's so nuts. And you guys heard like Rhode Island is technically Rhode Island and Providence
I didn't know that.
plantations.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Isn't that nuts?
Idea.
Like that's official on their seal and everything. We just call it Rhode Island for short, but now they're gonna officially cut it. But I'm like, oh my God, like that's so knuckin' fun.
How come they didn't know that about history? Like
exactly.
Why? It's like a lot of people are learning about that now, and so today is when I protest, when I find out about it. It's just it's insanity. It's insanity, and it's like a last gasp of like a tragic person to see all these things happen.
Well,
listen, these people are just ignorant and pathetic, and
they choose these things.
Yeah, right. They choose to be ignorant and pathetic, exactly, and they're just racist.
And when you try to kill a vermin, it's gonna squeal real loud at the end, and it's gonna fight tooth and nail to stay alive, and that's what's happening with the racism.
Vermin,
racist culture. Yeah, they don't want to let it go. They're
vermin.
They don't want it pried from their pasty ass hands, and they're gonna scream and fight, and that's fine. Yeah. But it's going.
Yeah, well, so they removed the Confederate flag, and then Bubba, because he had a hard time finding a sponsor for his car, for his race team. And so, and he also put Black Lives Matter on his car, and he wore a Black Lives Matters t-shirt. He himself is Black, and, you know, he wanted to bring that to the forefront. He made the petition to have the Confederate flags removed. That happened. And then somehow
Cherry on top.
a noose was found in his garage at Talladega. And, you know, they were like, oh, that's just rope. I don't know. Like,
It's a garage pull.
okay, sure.
Well, the FBI still called it a noose, even when they said it wasn't a hate crime. They easily,
Right.
like, in their thing, they were like, it wasn't a hate crime. The noose that was found in the garage, we found to not be a hate crime, but it is definitely
The
a noose.
FBI
And
is
people are like, it
racist.
wasn't a noose. It wasn't a noose. And I'm like, it literally
Okay.
says in their
Noose.
It's a
statement,
noose.
it's a noose. Like,
It's a noose. Yeah,
any-
If it
it's a
looks
noose.
can
like a
see the
noose,
pictures.
it's a noose.
It smells like a noose. It's a
Yeah.
noose.
So that happened, and the FBI went in. They said it wasn't a hate crime, but they did call it a noose. And so all the NASCAR drivers, when his car was taken out, they walked with his car. He was very emotional. It was very wonderful to see. And, you know, I don't know, like this whole thing is just, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how NASCAR is going to be dealing with these situations.
Yep.
But I think that they are doing the right things, and people are trying to say, but, you know, how would you take out all the people that are problematic in NASCAR? You wouldn't have NASCAR. I mean, how could you just would
I
have
think
to
that-
end
But they're
NASCAR.
willing to
that's
take the risk.
That's a fight that these leagues are just willing to have now.
Yeah.
And not just leagues. I mean, like, businesses that are releasing statements. Like, everybody's just willing to, like, deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I know we talked about this. I might have said this, but so we went to the Wattsville races.
Oh,
They had
no.
monster truck pulls there too, and you could hear like zoom, 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 you know, through like it. My town's pretty small, and so you could hear that noise coming from the racetrack and whatever. And yeah, it was not. I don't know. My town's predominantly Hispanic, and you would see. I don't know if I saw any. I don't think if anything in my brain like knew that something was being racist, but I'm sure that some of the people there, they knew like what was up, because you look at the crowd and it'd be all white. And mostly it's like the drivers, people that work on the cars that were Hispanic or working at the racetrack. So it's definitely an interesting demographic that goes there. I mean, I went to a couple of times and I was like, I'm good.
I went to one. I went to one at Texas Motor Speedway, which is a big race. And I was working for a startup company at the time, and for whatever reason, they were like, we're going to go out and we're going to promote our company at the Texas Motor Speedway. The two guys who had this company had so much money to burn. They were like, let's run a big RV and go out in the middle of the track and like be out there for a few days. And one of the guys, his main business was selling those little Rascal scooters that old people ride. And so, for whatever reason, he thought it would be hilarious to bring out like 6 of them. And so we would ride around the middle. We'd ride around the middle of the track on these Rascal scooters, like a scooter gang. But you would literally, as soon as you crossed it was literally like a divide. There was like the rich RV people who were still very racist. But then like you would cross over into like this other world where it was just like cars painted in Confederate flags. Like not just one Confederate flag, but like 8.
Like Dukes of Hazzard.
Like generally
very, very, very racist. And I felt uncomfortable just being in like that presence. yeah, so I can only imagine that the people I saw at that race, how they would feel, how they felt once that Confederate flag ban came down.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was scary. It was a different
Yeah.
it's not something that I would want to do again. Even if I was on a rascal scooter or not.
That does sound like fun, but
Yeah.
the Confederate flag folk do not. Yeah,
No, it was
I
not
don't
fun.
remember seeing that at the Watsonville Speedway, but I'm sure there was a ton of microaggressions, and there was like just places that you don't go, right?
Yeah.
There's places you don't walk, places you don't go.
Yeah.
And that's just how that is, you know. And
Yeah.
I would say that to me, because I've been to several different sports events, and the racing has probably only been the one where I was like, this is awful and it
Yeah.
feels weird, and I
I
wanna
felt
go.
if I felt uncomfortable being a white person
right
around that, like
yeah
it's
yeah
bad. It's very
yeah
bad.
mm-hmm.
But also,
Well,
can we talk about how like it's a little bit fishy that the news had been there since September, right?
Right. They said it's been there for a while.
But the one black guy gets assigned to that garage.
To that, yep. That's a
dude,
something's
that was
up.
on purpose. Someone.
Yeah,
statements,
up.
I mean, you're not going to tell me that they eradicated racism from the entire league or from the owners
Nope.
or the people in leadership. You're not going to tell me that
From the
all of a
culture,
sudden that
yeah.
they're just like,
Yeah.
oh, I woke up. Look at me stretching out the racism.
Right.
No, that is not. Yeah.
Well,
No, not
you
a
had
thing.
that one guy that nobody had even heard of who was like, I'm going to take a stand and I'm retiring from NASCAR
Yeah.
after the ban. And it was like, fine, the trash just took itself out.
Yeah,
Like,
cool.
Yeah.
nobody even knows who you are. You haven't won shit.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't even placed. Never heard your name. So, like, have fun, you racist. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. Seriously.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
you're gonna
Good
take a
riddance.
stand.
Good riddance.
Yeah, well, I know that there are also more sponsors coming to, to sponsor Bubba, and I believe it's Tom something Perry, Steve Perry,
Oh, he's
Petty.
like
Richard Petty.
Richard
he's like
Petty.
the-
Steve Perry is the lead singer
Yeah,
of Journey.
he's like the pioneer of NASCAR.
And Tom Petty is dead.
Tom Petty is dead.
Okay.
He's a singer as well.
Okay, which just a side note, his family was like told the idiots that they can't use his song because they
Won't back
played
down,
yeah,
yeah.
won't back down. They're like, you need to stop, that we do not approve.
He's
you
literally
our
gonna
song.
run out of music, and it's just gonna
Seriously?
be some racist with a saxophone.
The James Dolan band. That's the only he's gonna be able to use at his rallies.
James Dolan band.
James Dolan band and like Ted Nugent.
Oh,
What a concert.
Kid Rock, James Dolan,
true.
Ted
go.
Nugent and Sammy Hagar.
They're full catalogs, all for Trump.
That's gonna be his 4th of July concert special.
And like a tribute band to somebody, to like Three Doors Down.
Oh my god! How painful! Oh my god, I'm so pained. That is painful.
Can't even get the real band. Didn't that happen at his inauguration? He had he tried to get like Three Doors Down, and they were like, "Fuck
No,
you!" And then he
no.
went out and he got like a
He got like a Three Doors Down cover band.
Oh shit! And oh my god, Three Doors Down cover band. That's like 2 notches below the.
Oh my god!
2 songs. I can't even tell you what they are. Like, what do you even cover?
What do you?
Oh, can you even imagine? Oh my god! Imagine having to be the planner for that. Just been like, we got to get this Three Doors Down cover band.
Everybody's backing out. What do we get?
We can't even get Nickelback up in here. Nobody. Like, nobody.
Smash Mouth. No.
Nobody.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. I
what
mean,
a
that
loser.
alone, like that alone should make you question. Like, if this is really somebody I don't know, their musical playlist should tell you something.
Yeah, if bands aren't willing to be at your event or inauguration, presidential, whatever, then I don't know if you should be running.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Well,
He's not gonna have any walkout music to his rallies.
None. He's not. What is he
It's
gonna be?
like
A MIDI
It's
keyboard.
gonna be like a kazoo. A guy on a kazoo.
A bunch of kids.
It's gonna be his sons on a drum machine. Or
Hey, there's a lot of
something.
Confederate songs out there.
I don't know a single one.
I don't know. Either.
Oh, I read this like list of children's rhymes that are rooted in racism.
But songs, like, do we know any? I mean, maybe Guns N'
They're
Roses
the
has
great
some
old
songs.
flag. It's the high flying flag.
They're gonna sing "Song in the South" from Splash Mountain. The video behind it is just gonna be a Splash Mountain. Oh my god.
Maybe they could do that Doctor Who song because that guy was a pedophile who's dead. So they wrote that. So there you go. I mean, you're gonna have to go bottom barrel here.
Yeah.
So
his artist and album compilation will be "Meet You in Hell."
Oh man.
Ooh.
Those rallies. Wow. God damn. Okay, so I think we were ready to do our final segment. We're gonna take a quick break, Karen. So shut your mouth. And and then we're gonna be right back. And we're back. I need to cut there, guys. I'm gonna edit this shit.
Oh my god.
It's hoops off. Don't edit anything.
It's hoops off. It's hoops off. Okay, so in honor of our hoops off, so we started a new segment. This actually came out of our group text.
Mm-hmm.
And we're each going to have a minute to go off on something, to take our hoops off. Someone hold my hoops, like you would when you're getting ready to tussle. We're going to have 1 minute. I'm going to do countdown. So, and someone's going to have to count me down. But who wants to start?
Karen.
Put timer out.
No, I'm not going to start. I'm the timer.
No, I'm going to time. Kyndall, you're going to do yours first.
First?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay, ready? Because you'll have the energy. You'll get us through. Okay, so hoops off. Kyndall, go.
Taking my hoops off on the Texas Rangers. My favorite baseball team, who is getting very hard to root for these days. So last night it came out that a large portion of their employers have tested positive for coronavirus. And the reason is that apparently they put the fear of God into these employees of theirs.
Lovely.
Basically saying if you don't come in to the office, you potentially could lose your job. So all of these people were scared because they have to make a living. So they came into the office during a pandemic. And now a large majority of them have tested positive for coronavirus because they weren't wearing masks in the office.
Oh my God.
And not only that, but they've been hosting graduations and all kinds of shit at their new ugly as hell stadium that looks like a barbecue grill. And top of them just being really hard to root for because of that alone, it took them way too long to come up with a statement on the Black Lives Matter movement. And the statement they had was the most basic ass, we're just going to copy and paste what other people have been saying. It had zero heart and thought into it.
And you're at time.
Oh,
fuck. It's okay. You went over a little time, but
okay.
I'm going to agree with you. Those guys, for real, like, if anything, too, because Texas is a hot spot. So they should be more, I mean, I don't understand anybody that doesn't, like, have masks or protocols in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they were one of 2 organizations to not host a Pride night. So they're not even acknowledging Pride. So it's getting very hard for me to be a fan of that organization.
Oh, you better
They're an
write a
embarrassment
letter.
on the field, and now they are a true embarrassment off the field.
Yeah.
And
I agree with you.
I'm sick of it.
I agree with you. Hoops off to those motherfuckers because you know what?
Throw it in their
Hoops
fucking
off.
face.
Not good. I'm
No.
gonna agree. Boo to the Texas Rangers. Boo.
Boo.
Karen, are you ready? Take
I'm
the
ready.
hoops off?
I'm
okay.
ready.
So I'm gonna I have countdown here. Ready, set, hoops off. Karen, go.
I'm taking my hoops off with the US fucking A. All right, let's talk about this. Bloomberg put out that why is the US doing such a poor job around Corona? And the reason this relates to sports, guys, because we'd be having sports, period, and not having these stupid discussions that we're having and being fearful for our players and the people who work in sports. Okay, back to this. USA, you dumb fucks. Why is it that we are failing fighting Corona, unlike our European counterparts who started their spikes much more earlier than us and are doing fine? 1, failure to ramp up testing. 2, Trump, period.
Yes.
3,
Yep.
because everyone decided to reopen just after bending the curve. Oh, come on, guys. Like,
No.
what the fuck? USA. And also Mount Rushmore, Rhode Island and Providence plantations, Confederate flags, Robert E. Lee, goddamn statues. Christopher Columbus is still a fucking holiday.
You are at time, and yes, hoops off, USA.
Get it together, USA.
And I'm wearing
Get it
army fatigue.
together.
Wear a goddamn
USA.
mask. Nobody's taking your rights away. Just
You know
care
what?
for each other. Show some compassion and empathy, you pieces of shit out there arguing with everything going on.
God damn. USA stands for the United States of assholes because that's what we have become. If you don't wear a fucking mask.
Bleached assholes.
Wow. Okay. If you want to be really specific. But
East of LA.
But since it was your hoops off. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like we could have had 14 days in quarantine and been having sports without all of this and let science catch up. And so, and yes, and all this fucking monuments to racist ideology and losers, no good. US, get your shit together. Okay.
Yep.
Who's gonna count me? Karen, you can do my
Yes.
stopwatch? Okay.
I will be.
You tell me when to go.
Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Ready?
Okay.
In 3, 2.
My hoops off goes to fucking Florida. Florida, you piece of shit. And you know what? Your fucking governor, DeSantos, where the fuck his name is, moron. Hello. In May, he was telling people, I don't need to people don't need to wear a mask. We don't care. Because you know what? We challenge your ideology and you're going to be like, oh, look at you. Look at Florida. We're going to flourish. You know what, motherfucker? You had 9,000 cases as of yesterday in one motherfucking day. You have 3 hot spots crawling: Miami-Dade, somewhere near Orlando, and some fucking spot in Florida. You got people going to town halls talking about God's breathing systems and how G5 and Bill Gates and all these conspiracies, and you're there. And on top of it, you have people on the streets that are like, oh, well, dead is dead. So fuck you, Florida.
You, Florida, FYI.
I mentioned you have Marco Rubio, your stupid ass state too. And he sucks as well.
I cannot believe the morons they elect in that fucking state. I can't. Well, I can, because then you see those people going.
Fuck Florida.
You know what? Fuck Florida.
Florida sucks even when there isn't a pandemic. And then
Even
it really
Disney
sucks during one.
Dude, Disney wasn't even going to open. Like, they're like, we're probably not going to open.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed our Hoops Off segment, because it's going to be happening more often because we have
really
shit
good.
to
That
say.
was cathartic.
Yes.
It was.
Oof.
I feel so good about it. I feel like,
Ah.
yeah, we need to get it out.
We got sweaty and pity in that, and
Yeah, I'm going through all of my layers.
That's what it's supposed to be, guys. That's what it's supposed to be. Well, ladies of the Hoops Talk, we have come to an end.
Hats off.
Hats off to both of you. Yeah, I think this was a good, Hoops Off segment episode. Felt good. Everybody, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe and review Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Follow us, DM us. DM the Hoops Talking. Don't DM me. Don't DM Karen. Don't DM Kyndall. The Hoops Talking. Okay, DM there. Also, we're on Twitter at the Hoops Talking, YouTube, Hoops Talk, Google us, TikTok, Hoops Talk, Hoops Talk, Hoops Talk, Hoops Talk. That's where we are. That's where you can find us. Karen, how you want to keep it?
We want to keep it
sweaty and happy. We out.